All right, here we go. Nervos Nation, happy Halloween. Uh, let's get right into it. All right, and you might hear some background noise. Got a lot going on. Got the family here. Kids probably coming up trick or treating. I've got dogs. They might start barking. So maybe we'll get lucky. But just as a heads up. This is video number 4, titled "Life is Exhausting Sometimes. Remember to rest and remember family." I've already mentioned this is a busy time at work this time of year for me. So that on top of just going so hard, there's so much exciting stuff coming up with CKB, right? Caught the Twitter bug. I'm on there all the time. It's just I felt it catching up to me over the last couple of days, and just I'm for whatever it's worth. I recommend that we all remember to rest and remember family. It's really important. Yep. So that's greeting disclaimer. This is my analysis. This analysis is my opinion alone and should be taken as such. This is not financial advice. So you hear my daughter in the background. This is not a financial advice. I get bored having to say it throughout, so I'm just going to say it once. Don't forget it. I'm going to share what I'm doing. I might even use words such as "you should do this too." Maybe I won't. Maybe I will. Who knows? But just up front, this is my analysis. Take it for that and that alone. Do not invest based off of it. These are not tested, tried, or proven. This is just me. Boom. I teased Uncle Rate on Twitter and what I've been finding, and it's very interesting. So we're going to dive into it. And to start, what I do here is I look at CKB metrics and how price responds to it. How CKB responds. I look for patterns. I look for this metric does this, and every time after, this pattern follows with price. Or maybe this pattern does this thing. This metric might say one thing. It doesn't mean anything. This other metric might say something. It doesn't mean anything. But when they both together line up, it makes something. These are the things that I'm looking for, okay? All right, Uncle Rate. The rate of orphan blocks. As miners mine blocks on the network, a certain percentage of those blocks are orphaned, and Nervous Network's consensus has been designed for network difficulty to adjust as the Uncle Rate it goes above or below its target rate of 2.5%. All right, so it all ties together. Miners, especially right now, if you think about it, that we have Nervos has base issuance and secondary issuance, and the base issuance follows the exact same pattern of Bitcoin. Every 4 years we have a halving until that base issuance runs out, and then we have secondary issuance every year that is paid to miners and those who lock in the Nervos DAO. So right now, since we're in the first 4 years of base issuance, there's a lot of CKB coming into the market, which means these miners are gaining a lot of stake into CKB with their rewards. So because of that, they make large moves. And I think this is why in patterns such as the Uncle Rate, difficulty, hash rate, live cell count, I've talked about this a lot, why they, at least as of today, play such a massive role in how price responds. And it's always going to be fun to see as the network evolves and as base issuance halves, how that's going to adjust. So, going in here to Uncle Rate. All right. I'm distracted. I'm looking out my window. There's a bunch of trick-or-treater kids, and I'm wondering if they're going to walk up to our place or not. Anyways, back to it. Let's pull this up. Stall and volatility, drop, M formation, then it begins. What do I mean by that? I've spent a lot of time. What I have written down here is not even everything I've found. This is just what I'm comfortable sharing with right now. And even this, again, is still... this is my brain. This is what I'm picking up on. So what am I referring to in a stall and volatility? A drop, an M formation, and then it begins. So stall and volatility. You know what? Actually, I should change that. Not a... No, I shouldn't change that. That's exactly what I meant. The easiest one, the one that we're going to start with right here, is end of 2020, early 2021. We're looking here, right? All right. We're looking for something that stands out. This is what we're going to call stall and volatility of the uncle rate, right? And it's a stall that is sitting above the target rate. And that's important. I'll come back to that. Stall and volatility. If I move this over, I can keep them both up. And then a drop. Boom. When did this drop happen right here? December 28th. Let's go take a look at price, all right? By the way, I'm just curious, where are we sitting at right now? Where are we sitting at? Not bad. Above 2 cents, right? It's a good day so far. What was that date? December 28th. Interesting. Right? Interesting. December 28th, right there. Pretty good run, right? For 3 months following. Well, let's look more into this. December 28th is when that drop happened, okay? I talk about something called an M formation. This is just what I'm calling it right now because it looks like an M. The M formation plays 2 key roles. One, an M formation following a drop, but as well, I've noticed a price reaction to the upside 10 days following the completion of the M formation. Right there, it's 22nd, okay? Roughly 10 days, I should say, like maybe 9 to 11, just 10-day average. 31 days in January, so that would be, gosh, come on. If you guys can't tell, I'm tired. 22nd. February 1st, right? 8, 9, 10. Yeah. Golly, Jeremy. Come on. All right. February 1st. Look at this. Just boo, right up. Right? We see this stall and then in volatility and this drop right at the bottom. We get this movement up and then boom. We get this jump. Okay? This, obviously, we're going to touch more on the M formation that I've seen play some individual roles in between here and where we are today. But I'm looking at a big pattern here. The M formation has its own little individual plays, and we'll look at them. But this is the big play, right? The stall and volatility, the drop, and the M formation. So, where are we here today? We have this stall right here in volatility in August, end of August. Interesting. It's above the target rate. Remember, that's important too. A little bit later, this one followed right afterwards, right? But we have this drop. Where did this drop finish? September 28th. Let's go to 3 months here. September 28th. Can't make this stuff up. September 28th, right? So, the next thing I would want to look for, right, is an M formation. We've seen the stall and volatility. We saw the drop. And now we're looking for an M formation. Boom. Could this be it? That's the question, right? The whole purpose now, I'm actually kind of walking you through this in the process that I was noticing it, or excuse me, the process of me figuring it out and trying to prove it. I need to prove, if it's only happened once, you can't even call it a pattern. It needs to at least have happened twice to catch the interest of seeing if it will happen a third time and maybe calling it a pattern from there, right? So we got to figure it out. We got to see, can we replicate this in this madness, right? Mainnet was young, early March, that was of 2020. Bitcoin crashed along with everything else, and as well as just, when COVID was first hitting the world, so it was madness, and there was less hash rate on the network. The network was still young, and we're still young, but obviously much more immature, right? This is what like teenage hormones look like, and then you start to mature out, and you grow up a little bit. So I needed to find a way to mimic this, if possible. Okay. Now, Will it be a little bit of a stretch? Maybe. Okay. But I did my best, and I think I found something interesting here, right? So I'm looking for a stall in volatility above the target rate, right? There's so many moments here. This is when everything crashed, was right about here. I just take a lot of this with a grain of salt, just because of how young the main net was, and it should help. I can't consider any of these a stall above the target rate, so I got to find it up here, and then I need to find a drop. This is the best I can find for a stall. Even this bottom right here, right, was at an uncle rate of 2.52%. So from July 2nd to July 8th, 9th, we technically had a stall right above. And then right there, that's when it falls through. You could argue even the big drop right here on the 15th, okay? So we found something interesting here, that the drop was on the 28th of December 2020. And then September 28th. Well, it's trippy that it's the same day of the month. I didn't even recognize that. Right, this is the most recent one. Near bottom, obviously, right there. December 28th. Now, what was this date again? July 15th. Let's see what this looks like. Right there. We'd had a little bit of an upward movement right about July 15th. And it falls. Interesting, right? But, so, I can say this is the closest thing to a stall that we have above target rate. This is plainly a drop following that, so I need an M formation. Right there. Okay? There, boom, 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 M formation. Completes on July 29th. And then I was talking about roughly 10 days following. Well, 30 days, yeah, so that'd be 31 days. So that would be what, August 8th? Let's see what happens. Where's August 8th? Look, I mean, on the freaking money. And it takes off right there. That to me is enough to spark my interest. A stall in volatility, drop, M formation. Stall in volatility, drop, M formation. Now, something very specific about this M formation is the different peaks of it, and I talk about this here. So we talk about the 10-day delay. This is average, right? And then an upside, and we go through the dates. So January 22nd, April 12th. These are some of those ones in the beginning. And then I use this one right here, June 1st, 2021 is an example of a deceitful M formation due to even peaks. Let me just touch on that really fast here. Where's June? There it is right there. Well, I saw this one. I was like, oh, M formation on June 1st. All right, so what would happen on June 11th? Where's June 1st? It's like at the top, basically the opposite, right? So I was wondering, well, okay, is the M formation 10-day delay from that junk? Well, what I noticed and what was different is they're not perfectly even, but they're darn near close, right? But right before this, we have an M formation with uneven peaks at the bottom, 522. Yeah, right about there. Well, 522, so it's going to be like right around June 1st, 2nd. Well, boom. Upward move, right? 8 days roughly, or 9 to 10 days roughly. We get an upside shot. It makes me curious, did we also have an M formation here? And, we had even talked about the 21 to 28 day delay that we see from hash rate peaks and how they played a role into this as well. It's really interesting, right? Hash rate, so uncle rate, depending on its percentage, adjust network difficulty, which adjusts miners' hash rate output and demand, and how much money they're spending on electricity and what they need to sell to cover costs. And it all plays a huge role. So it's really interesting how this M formation can play a role here. And where was I? So there was that one. Where was the next M formation I wrote down? April 12. Where's April 12? Right there. Oh, so uneven peaks, M formation. Right, you see how the center of it obviously is sitting above. And yeah, so what would that be? 10 days from there, 22nd, April 22nd. What happens April 22nd? Right there too. So you can argue a couple days afterwards, but I mean technically a spike happened right there. And then we got this, I'm pretty sure this was like bit thumb listing. Yeah, there you go. So there's that. So M formation, something that caught my eye, and I'm watching. Also, well, here, so we all know we had an amazing beginning of the year, January 22nd, just to show you. Stall, drop, and then our M formation following that on the 22nd. And it really is interesting. January 22nd. I already mentioned this one. I'm repeating myself. But yeah, boom. It's great, right? So the M formation is interesting just on its own. But the bigger pattern is that stall, that plain as day stall, something that sticks right out. This sticks out. This sticks out. Your drop. And then the M formation following. And then we have really big runs after that. Uneven peaks. Very important. For whatever reason, uneven peaks, very important. So, this is where we look at the bottom of this one, because this just happened, right? Is this our M formation, right? The center of it is above target rate, uneven peaks, drops on the 28th. This is what's nice about the M formation having a 10-day delay, because as time goes on, right here at this chart here, we're able to see our difficulty, uncle rate, epoch time, and length, all within the last roughly, I don't know what it is, 50 epochs. And so that can help us try to catch intraday patterns playing out and how they might then end up settling on the chart as they update roughly every 24 hours. But the good news is, because it's a 10-day delay, because this is going to take me time to try to incorporate what I'm seeing here on a micro scale, right? Macro scale is a little bit easier to recognize patterns in initially. But it's a 10-day delay. So the cool thing is we can already see on the 28th the bottom of an M formation following a drop, and then before the drop, the volatility stall and volatility. 3 days from there, so November 7th. Roughly there. Wrote it down. November 7th. Question mark. Oh, wait. Hold on. Really quick. July 29th, 2020. What happened? Oh, that was the main one. Wasn't it? Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. Actually, I can get rid of this one now. Yep. November 7th. That's the question. This will be the third time, and we can call it a pattern after that. If November 6th, 7th, 8th, it doesn't mean that price won't move to the upside before, all right? It doesn't mean that. I mean, we already had a decent day today. A lot of these patterns, the price has been moving up before. It's just we noticed right around that 9, 10, 11 day following, boom, rocket movement upwards. So that's not bad. That would put us right in, I mean, I'm pretty sure that's Sunday. So if it was a day later, Monday, maybe a news announcement, who knows, right? But it's interesting. It's wild. And there's more to this too. There has to do with, but I'm just not going to get into it. You'll notice when we have consistent 7 to 8 day bottoms, we have you see it's sitting here at 2.44, 2.46, 2.47, 2.43. We're allowed a little bit of a leniency below the uncle rate when we have these consistent repetitive bottoms that we stay within basically a boundary. But price action seems to get punished following when we go a little too far down. It's really interesting, especially on this one, because March 14th was 2 weeks before the tippy top of our run. Right there. Right? So almost like a 2-week delay from that point. But don't write that down or anything of that nature on a 2-week delay. But it is interesting when we see these extra drops. November 15th of 2020. November 15th, we kind of... Well, I mean, no, that one didn't really work. This isn't planned right here. It's something interesting that I found when you have extra June 8th. Let's see. June 8th up top. Following that, get a little punished. I don't know why I'm saying punished. I got to remind myself, CKB does not go down. It just goes on sale. But there's more to this here. It took me a while to prep for this because I want to try to present it as well as I possibly can. But that's all I'm really going to touch on right now, even though there's more that I'm seeing. I want to go through it a few more times before I feel comfortable sharing that with you. But yeah. All right. There you go. Uncle rates. And another thing that's really interesting about how these line up, right? Historical crypto booms. The DeFi boom in summer of 2020. That was... Actually, pull that back up. That's what this was right here. It's interesting that followed. The second time we saw this pattern that I am looking at, possible pattern of a stall in volatility on Uncle Rate, a drop, and then the M formation, and then it begins. So we had that happen here during the summer, DeFi summer boom, during the Bitcoin boom of early 2021, and then I wrote down Meta boom, right? Like because we have Metaverse, Facebook's changing their name to Meta. I pointed out before some clear hints at partnerships with companies that are investing in the metaverse on a previous video and in several of my tweets. And everything, the tweet I sent out right before I started recording this, everything metaverse is pumping right now. And how long is it going to take until the world realizes that Nervos has got some connections that they are deliberately trying to keep private right now? So how long will it take? We're going to have a meta boom at the end of 2021, and is this 3-step possible pattern in Uncle Rate telling us something? November 7th, roughly. Who knows? We'll see. That's what I'm excited for. All right, I got to rapid fire and review through these, and then I've got to go spend some time with my family because it's Halloween evening. So, transaction count. I had mentioned that I am not going to try to throw out any like thoughts or predictions until we saw what happens, and it was probably right around this area with transaction count. I didn't draw any patterns, so I apologize. I talk about consistency and follow through is what price action looks for from transaction count. Inconsistency and not following through turns CKB price action into a sale, right? CKB will then go on sale. When we sit in this sweet spot, right, just like right below the 20K line, that's our resistance line. And price action responds favorably when transaction count goes above its resistance and holds and remains consistent. But when it comes right back down through inconsistently and it doesn't follow through, CKB will go on sale. Now, when we sit in these channels, price action responds well, and it goes up. We hit this point here, and we kind of been on this rise, and I didn't know how we were going to respond. If right here we were going to go up or down, and we just took this drop right back into our little sweet spot, right? So it's interesting. It's interesting that what I'm looking at in Uncle Rate leads me to the date possibly of November 7th. We drop back down into the sweet spot. It could stay there. Now, again, this could just go right back up. We're sitting, let me refresh just to make sure. We took off, and we've been close to 20K for the last several hours now. And I'm curious. That's what I'm watching right now with transaction count. Consistency and follow through. How is it going to affect CKB price in the short term? Next one hash. I don't know why I'm going back to this. I didn't write any notes, and I have them in a line here. Next one, difficulty. Talked about this pattern, right? When I notice a breakthrough in resistance for network difficulty, and then it basically sets a new support of sorts, right? Everything changes, if that makes any sense. And right about June 26th, we saw that of 2020. Let's go back through this really fast. This is review for some of you, but June 26th, right about there, we see how price action responds favorably. Let me get rid of that. All right, and right about there, 527.24 difficulty. Right here on this date, February 5th, we bust through that and we hold, right? And this is a whole new phase of network difficulty compared to this. So February 5th was the date. Very interesting, because this is February 5th right there, and we see how price action responded. I've been watching this since video 1. Where am I going? Gosh, come on. And I thought that this might have done it. It didn't. This, I mean, I'm feeling, I use the word optimistic every single time I talk about network difficulty, but this is much more promising than before, if that makes any sense. And that date was the 29th of October, 2 days ago. I'm very, very excited, right? Very, very excited. And even right now, we're sitting at a mining difficulty 961. Hash rate, this is such a beautiful thing to see. So, difficulty, very excited. Hash rate, we talk about 21 to 28 day delay. We see price from the peak of a new hash rate all-time high, right? From that peak moment before it starts to go down. Every single one of these, we saw boosts of momentum of CKB to the upside. This one, we saw it start too, right? So it would have been on the 21, 28 days, so 22nd to 29th. This one was interesting. I sent out a tweet about it. I would recommend, if you go back a few of my tweets, you'll find it. And I talk about on the 22nd, so that it should start right about here, right? Well, it kicked in probably right here on the 24th. We saw the reversal, just like we always do, but it just got gobbled up by a specific account is my assumption. We'll jump into that here in a minute, right? Hash rate, though. So now, could the 29th be a new actually, I would call it a new peak, because we're at 75.59. Yeah. Actually, there you go. So 2 days, what would that be? 19 days into November 19th to the 26th. Let me write that down. That's awesome. And because I'm bullish about CKB price personally, even before that. So that's nice to expect an additional boost of momentum to the upside within those dates. That's great. And if you have any questions about this, is the first one of my videos you're watching, you can go back. I go in depth most on hash rate in my second video. So that would be the one, if you're interested in what I'm referring to with the 21 to 28 day delay, which is my analysis. This is not something that somebody else thought of, right? This is just me, and I'm waiting for it to fail one day. It's been about 98% effective at this point. I'd mentioned that before. About March 2020, there was one that was a little iffy. But there you go. Hash rate, done. We're knocking them out. Cell count, this is just review, right? Whenever we see these big drops in live cells in a single day of 30,000 plus, within about 30 to 45 days following, CKB has always moved up a minimum of 85%. It has. It might not do it this time. Who knows? But the biggest one that's ever happened right there on the 18th of October. I'm just saying what it's done. This 1, 2, 3, 4. Go pull up these charts. Look at those dates. You can go back to my videos too. I walk through them more in depth. Price action responds 85% or more within 30 to 45 days. It's just what's happened. So we'll see. This is the 5th time. That's another bullish sign there. Yep, and then miner or not minor, excuse me. Why did I say minor? That's wrong. Account. Let's change this right now. That is wrong. Account or address, whatever you want to call it. RYE2 on balance ranking. Actually, let's update this. Let's see if they've added anything since yesterday. No, they're darn close. RYE2, I've talked about them a lot in different tweets. They were at rank 6. They jumped up to rank 5. They withdrew 88 million CKB, fell back down to 6, and now they're less than a million away from rank 5 again. But they haven't deposited anything since yesterday, about 4 o'clock Central Time. So we'll keep an eye on them. Why are they taking a break? Maybe it's the weekend. Who knows? Maybe if they stopped adding on a weekend, maybe that means it's a United States-based exchange. Who knows? Maybe they don't want to. I literally have absolutely no idea. Absolutely no idea. But it's interesting, and I always keep an eye on it. Oh man! All right. I think we're done. That's what I'm looking at. I'm very optimistic and excited. I think, and you know what? Because of that, because all of these things just seem to all be pointing towards, we have nothing but upwards movement in CKB price to look forward to. A black swan event's gonna like hit the world in the next 2-3 days and just ruin it for all of us, right? So, that would really suck. But isn't that sometimes the way the world plays out? I'm very excited. We've got a lot to look forward to. Last thing, I had a question for you guys and final thoughts. The question is, and if you don't feel like you have to respond, but if this is interesting to you and you want to share your opinion, I'd love to hear it in the comments. In the last video, I went off script a little bit and just shared with you guys some of my detective research and like thought process. Basically, I try to stay in my lane as much as I can, and the lane I've kind of created is just studying these metrics and their relation to price. But would you guys be interested in me doing a video on just some of that detective work that I like to do on the side? What I'm seeing, my thoughts on what it could mean for the future of the project. Yeah, I'd love to hear it. If not, don't worry. Just say no. It's not going to hurt my feelings at all. I'm just genuinely curious. I just don't want to go through it and make it if you guys wouldn't be interested. But if you like that idea, let me know down there, and we'll take it from there. So, happy Halloween. Go spend some time with family. Eat some candy. Get sick. and have a good Monday morning. And I'll see you guys on Twitter, @CKMetrics. This is J Mitch signing off. Thanks, guys.